It was so good, Stan. We haven't
so good.
we have not wanted your basketball analysis all season. Half a season has been played. We have not wanted to talk to you, but as soon as you went full old white guy and had this back and forth with Kevin Durant, I've got to find it real quick here so that I can.
In the meantime, retroactively hitting you with a.
I read yesterday to Amin. Amin disagrees with you, Stan, on something I thought you were saying that was perfectly fair, which is, I'm going to paraphrase here, that in the 90s, there was just a strength coach and a conditioning coach, and guys played more games, and they played back-to-backs, and they practiced harder, and now injuries are up, and there's rest is being valued, and guys are missing games right and left. And Kevin Durant wrote, attached to what Stan was saying, Stan's spitting. You received that how, Stan? You thought spitting with an apostrophe.
Big difference, yep.
Okay, you can hit me with the white guys too. Spitting with an apostrophe, and you received that how? You were immediately mortified because you thought
I wasn't mortified. No, I just thought he was disagreeing with me.
And what did you think spitting meant?
I didn't really have any idea. I just thought he was at some point disagreeing with me. So
that's Kevin
I tried
Durant.
to clarify myself. I didn't know exactly. But now I know because virtually everybody that I know told me. So
it is so real and so true that you simply assume that Kevin Durant was disagreeing with you because that's what Kevin Durant does on Twitter.
That's all he does.
No, that really wasn't why, because I've never really engaged with Kevin Durant on Twitter, so it wasn't anything to do with him. I just, other than the fact, you know, he's a player today, and I thought that he was possibly taking it as an attack on players, which is not what I meant. So I tried to clarify that.
Stan, I agree with you.
Stan, I agree with you.
It was so good from Kevin Durant.
He did the translation for you is what he did. He said, okay,
yes, he did. Yes, he did it for me. And we have a game of theirs in a couple of weeks here in Brooklyn, and I will thank him in person.
But I mean, tell Stan why you disagree with him, because he's not factually wrong. The way that he's presenting the context, right. He is correct that guys are missing more games, injuries are up, and now there are giant performance staffs.
Yeah, what I told Dan, Stan, is that the reason why guys played 82 games or as many games as possible back then is because that's what people did. And there was no concept that if I don't play every game, I might be a little better when it matters. And so once that genie gets out of the bottle, the race is for everybody to have this same sort of management of load, of games played, of minute, whatever, however you want to define it. Now, you know, Michael Jordan played 82 games in 1998, right? But I likened it to being in a building with no elevator. We all take the steps. But the moment an elevator gets installed, you're going to realize, man, the guys taking the elevator, they got a lot more energy during the day, and I'm slogging energy just going up steps. Why am I slogging this energy? Why am I expending this energy? And what ends up happening is everyone says, well, I want to take the elevator too, and that's what's happened.
Yeah, but more people are...
That's not the point, though. The point is this. I understand that thinking. The point is this, though. Even with all of the load management and the change in that, actual injuries and people being out for injury is way up. And so at some point, when do you say, hey, this isn't really working? Maybe this theory we have isn't right. And at least not right for everybody, because, I mean, injuries are up. And more importantly, soft tissue injuries are up. The hamstring pulls, the groin pulls, things like that, they are up. That should concern every team in the league. And everybody should have at least the curiosity to say, are we doing this right? And I don't see teams doing that. I just see that across the league, it's accepted that the less we do, the less we demand of players, the better it is. Well, then why are we having more injuries?
Stan is spitting.
Stan, I just want to explain to the audience what's been happening, and we'll get back to your serious conversation in a second. But Chris Cody has gotten back on the treadmill. He's polluted from all things Buffalo over the last 3 days.
He's polluted.
And things, you move very quickly around here. It moves fast. And he tried to, at the start of when you were talking, he tried to pick an open window with good timing where he was going to speak the joke, which would have been funny, but guys are getting injured on the elevator. And but you guys stepped on each other, and so he spent the last 60 seconds kicking the air in the back room and just being like, because he had the window for
Long
the joke.
pauses.
He tried to feed it to me first, but today is not a day to feed me.
This is a bad combination.
Physically, I'm here, but I'm still in Mexico.
This is a bad combination.
I'm still in Buffalo.
My teammates today, I've got to do this.
Vegas here.
Oh, shit.
Everyone is polluted, but I mean, you wanted to say something about the soft tissue injury.
Yeah, I forgot about that part of the argument. The other part of this, Stan, is that players today, we're seeing these are the generations of players that became hyper-focused and specialized at a young age and played year-round, whereas earlier generations of players in our league, like A, participated in other sports growing up, and B, did not have that same sort of hyper-focus with training and drills. So what's happening is there's wear and tear, basketball wear and tear on joints and soft tissue, tendons, ligaments, etc. That's happening at a much higher rate by the time a guy's even 25 years old compared to a 25-year-old from 20 years ago.
I'm not buying any of that either. 20 years ago, guys played a lot more basketball growing up than they do now. Everybody talks about the AAU. Yeah, instead of playing 2 AAU games on a Saturday where the guy maybe plays 30 minutes in each game, guys played 6 hours on the playground. Like, I'm not buying any of this. And the problem I have, listen, I don't have a problem with people coming up with a theory on how to better preserve players and have them ready for the playoffs and lengthen careers and all that. What I have a problem with, is right now, everybody's just got this herd mentality, and no one in our league is even willing to question this and say, injuries are going way up, guys. This is the way we've been doing it now progressively more and more. Work less, rest more. We've been doing this for years now, and it's progressively gotten to this point where teams really don't practice at all, okay? And they play fewer back-to-backs, and injuries are going up. Why isn't someone saying, maybe we're doing it wrong? I'm not saying that necessarily we are. What I'm saying is, why is no one even questioning it? Like, even though injuries are going up, everybody just assumes that we're taking the exact right approach.
Can we bring it back to the tweet? What would have been a good response by Kevin Durant that Stan would have understood? Should he have been like, here, Stan?
It probably would have needed to be that direct and that obvious, yes.
I want
his follow-up, Chris, that was good, right?
It's so good.
He said, I agree with you. Okay. That I understood, yes.
It was the Stan in front of that. Stan, I agree with you.
Hands out, right?
Yep.
Stan.
It was. Amin's got this right. He just had his hands out. I'm not here to fight.
Right.
I don't want any problems. Stan, like he's telling that Stan is meant to calm Stan down. Stan, I'm agreeing with you. Please, whatever your whatever your unreasonable rage is, please. Kevin Durant was being so gentle with you, Stan, while you took it as disagreement and.
Oops.
That's the guy who hasn't been Vegas, Buffalo, or
He's just been here.
Miami.
Miami.
Yes,
Miami for him.
Holy shit.
I told Amin before the show, because Amin, for some reason, it's the strangest thing. We're doing show,
Yeah.
and always the first 12 seconds in, he knocks over a cowbell.
Yeah.
He hits a hotel ringing bell. I'm like, why are all these things here? He compared himself to the orchestra right before it starts.
Yeah, tuning.
The person tuning their violin. A stray sound.
Before it starts, though.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
before
what
it
I am.
starts. That's not the way Amin does it.
Stan, John Morant. Is he fucking around?
I don't have any idea what you're talking about right now, and I'm very sensitive to not knowing what people are talking about at this point.
How good is this person is what he's asking
I mean,
you.
he's not fucking around, Stan.
No, he's really, really good. He's not the only one, though. I mean, we have seen the stars just absolutely take over. I mean, I think more and more now we just take the stars, and I'm not even saying this is wrong. It's certainly working for teams. We take the stars and we give them the ball on every possession, and so the usage rates are way up, and these guys are getting more and more opportunities to show what they can do, and it is spectacular.
Stan, I was talking to Amin off air about this the other day because I feel like I'll be watching a Hawks game and I'm like, oh my God, Murray is more skilled as a basketball player than anyone I've seen the last 30 years, but there are 30 guys in this league more skilled than he is. The skill level of what I'm watching, I'm curious how you view it as someone who's inside it. The skill level of the basketball being played offensively to me. I know people want to criticize the defense, but the offensive skill of basketball is at a higher level than I've ever seen it with these guys, with Vucevic being somebody who exists as I'm going to score from three and I'm going to score 40 plus points. And the skill level's absurd.
Yeah, look, I mean, it gets better and better every year. I mean, there's no question that it's by far the highest it has ever been. And you know what? I don't think you can even just measure it by the stars because, we've always had stars that were skilled, and those guys may be more skilled now. But the depth of skill, as we go down the roster, I mean, we're doing the Golden State Boston game tonight, and everywhere you look, there's guys shooting 40% from three. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, Al Horford is 7th in the league in 3-point shooting.
Yeah, he is.
As an old 6'10" guy. I mean, the skill level is incredible. And I think what's remarkable too are the guys like Al Horford and Brook Lopez, who have kept up with the game as it is advanced and adjusted their games to what's needed today. So the skill level is incredible. Watching these guys every night, you just see things that are astounding.
I had the conversation on air here with Spencer Hall the other day. He did not think that today's Carolina Panthers would be able to trample the 1985 Bears. I do. I believe the science on all this stuff has gotten to a point where today's players are a lot better. So Spencer Dinwiddie is on the Buckets podcast, and he's saying, I'd be a god in the 50s. In the 50s, if I played, I'd be a god. But how far back do I have to go to keep with Amin's conversation of when things become oldies in music? Before I get to Michael Jordan, before I get to somebody willing to say, if I played during Michael Jordan's age, I'd be the god. Because we go into the 50s and we do it, but I think we can go back into the 80s and do it too.
No, you can't.
Yeah, my son is 28 years old, and in any sport, he doesn't even want to hear about anyone who played before the 80s. Like, if you start bringing up guys that played before the 80s, like, he's not even going to listen to you. He won't give a lot of credit to anyone who played in the 80s and 90s, but he's not even listening about anyone who played before the 80s. But I don't think it's all true. I mean, players are a lot better today. It's all true. I mean, that's the way evolution sort of works. But I don't think it's fair either, because I think what we're leaving out, had we taken those guys from those eras and raise them the same way with the same training things and everything else, where would they be now? I think you have to compare. I think athletes need to be compared to the eras they played in. But yes, I mean, today, like my son will say to me all the time, my son played high school baseball. Dan, you were a baseball player. I mean, my son will say Babe Ruth couldn't make my high school team, today. He said the guy was pitching, throwing 70 miles an hour and hitting off guys throwing 70 miles an hour. So, yeah, athletes are just a lot better today. It's all changed.
Dan was a baseball player?
My dream died
When?
in center field, AA.
Center field.
Stan, I told the guys this story a couple of weeks ago. When I worked in Phoenix in 2010, we ended the season with the 4th highest offensive rating in NBA history. And now we're outside of like the top 25. And when you look at the top 25, 20 of them have happened in the last 3 seasons. Since 2021, 21-22, and this season. 20 of the top 25 NBA offenses of all time. At what point does the league say we need to adjust the rules and tinker it back to give defenses a chance?
I don't know. I think the game is pretty good right now. I think that, there's 3 things I think that have led us to where we are offensively. The skill of the players, which we've already talked about, the rules changes over the rules changes and how the game is called. So it's a far less physical game. So we can say, oh, the athletes are a lot better and all of that. But, when Tim Hardaway was working for me in Detroit, we would talk all the time about, can you imagine Tim Hardaway and guys like that going out in an era like now where you can't hand check people and things like that, especially the young Tim Hardaway when he came in the league. You got to understand, as much as we want to say athletes are better, and they are, also the rules are different. Ja Morant, all those guys would look a lot different if defenses could play the way they played in the 90s. And you've got to factor that in a little bit. So the skill, the rules changes, and the fact that just people practice a lot less. And I think what suffers there is defense and preparation. The defenses aren't quite as good as they were because we're not spending the time to get teams ready to play, because we got to rest everybody so that they can play 3 out of every 4 nights, so that they then can have something left in the playoffs where they still sit out games, even in the playoffs. So that's what we've got to do. And so that cuts into defenses.
I want to ask you guys both about the trade deadline and who's going to do what. The Heat are unconfirmed reports. They're interested in Bogdanovich and Kuzma. They need rebounding. Duncan Robinson is someone that it is said that they are working hard to convince other teams, hey, you want this contract. Who needs what, Stan, and what do the Heat need?
Well, I mean, the Heat to me actually need quite a bit. I mean, they could use more size for sure, and people who can help them, rebound the ball and could help them on the defensive end with more size. I mean, they could certainly use to bring Jay Crowder back, but everybody is going to have an interest. Listen, if a good player is available, everybody has interest in them. And so, me as much as the trade rumor stuff. I mean, it can't even be 1% of the rumored trades that actually happen. I mean, we can throw everything out there. And by the way, I said, if a player's available, every player in the NBA is available. They always have been. This idea of teams coming out, I get it for the PR part of it with their own guys saying, oh, no, this guy's not available. That's a bunch of BS. Everybody's looking to get better. And so, the simple part on the trade deadline is everybody's trying to get as good of players as they can, giving up as little as they can. That's it. That's the entire summary.
Yeah, the Heat have been excellent defensively. They're but in a weird way. I don't know if you've seen this before. They don't foul, right? They keep their opponent off the free throw line. They're an excellent rebounding team. They force, I think, either the number 1 or number 2 team in the league in terms of forcing turnovers as a percentage of the other team's possessions. But they're bottom 5 in field goal percentage allowed, effective field goal percentage allowed. They can't stop anybody, but it doesn't matter because the other 3 things generate the bulk of their defense. But the biggest difference between last year and this year is this team is not a good 3-point shooting team. This was an elite 3-point shooting team a year ago, and this year they're not. And you say, what's going on? What went wrong? Well, the number one thing that's gone wrong for them is they don't make wide open threes. Last year, a top 5 team in wide open threes shooting. This year, a bottom 5 team in wide open
Stan,
threes.
explain that, not as it relates to the Heat, because I know many people listening to this don't want us to be talking any more Miami stuff. They're very sacred about that. But just explain that to me in general. Duncan Robinson, I could have made the argument, had the best playoff shooting game I've ever seen against the Atlanta Hawks, going 9 for 10 and just being ridiculous from 3-point range. How does that disappear?
Yeah, it's really interesting with the Heat because Duncan Robinson has gotten worse every year. So he went from his first full season where they went into the bubble and the whole thing. He was great. Then the next year he was still very good, but not quite as good by all his numbers. And then last year he was mediocre. And this year he got to the point that even before he had the surgery on his finger, that he wasn't even playable. Like Eric wouldn't play him. But it's beyond him. Max Strus has not shot the ball nearly as well. Until very recently, Gabe Vincent hadn't shot the ball nearly as well. The bottom line is they're undrafted players that we all raved about for very good reason, have looked like undrafted players for the good part of the year. So it's not that they're underachieving. Maybe they had overachieved before, but the Duncan Robinson story to me is strange. You know, it really is for all those guys, but for an organization that is rightfully lauded for player development and everything, and they developed all of those guys, they've all taken big steps back now, and Duncan Robinson the most, and it's sort of mystifying to me.
I put together a top 5.
What?
A top 5 center field names if Dan actually made it to the bigs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Roy exclaiming center field, and I'm yelling
It's
at him.
odd,
That's the joke, but that's the joke. Any other position is ridiculous, but now AA center fielder. I'm covering a lot of range because the left fielder is handcuffed. I can get into the gap.
That's the only
him.
position that would have been ridiculous.
I mean, what's the most ridiculous? I think it's the most. If I said catcher, it's not as funny as center field.
No, we could see you as a catcher and a first baseman. We cannot see you roaming center field.
Either that, or I think like
Maybe except for second base.
a specialist reliever.
Dan at the warning
yes.
We have 2 OLIs. We have Adam Eaton and Kenny Lofton. Number 5.
Whose is that?
I don't know.
That's got to be Stan's.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah. Number 5. Grady plus Sizemore. Number 4. Denord Spam.
I prefer Darvin Ham.
Different sport.
Yeah.
Number 3 is just Cocoa Crisp.
Mm.
Number 2, Chili's Davis. And number 1, Curtis Grandy son.
The Grandy man.
No, that's a white guy's. Curtis Grande son.
There you go.
Stan, what's got you pissed off in politics these days?
Oh boy.
Well, the debt ceiling debate, which to me is just, an absolutely ridiculous thing. What they'll be voting on is, do we want to pay our bills or not? That's all that is. This idea that, that's a way to cut spending. Like, we've spent that money. Now it's just, are we going to pay our creditors or not, and the fact that we have a system, number one, where we even get to vote on that is absolutely absurd. And the fact that we have one political party that would risk the full faith and credit of the United States and put the global economy at risk to promote their agenda is absolutely absurd and reason enough to tell people that they're not fit to govern. But, you know, that's just me, I guess, just another day in Washington. And with that, Dan, I got to run. So I was glad to present you guys with the opportunity to make fun of me. And have a great rest of the show.
We love you. Check him out. He is a rising star in the broadcast industry. Stan, we'll talk to you again a little bit later this season, sir. He is doing great work for TNT, for TBS. I enjoy him on the broadcast.
Gonna stick with you. Vegas, Vegas.
That's gotta sting.
It does. I'm not gonna make excuses. It came in late and it was good. I was trying to rework the
You
list.
just made the excuse. I came in late. It came in late.
No. It came in late, and I was like, "That's such a good line."
What was there before it? If you don't mind me asking.
No. That came in like during the list that I was giving out.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, that's really good. So I was doing live adjusting, and I just missed the execution. I'm so mad.
More like Curtis Gringo song.
Oh
my God.
I think that we should allow the audience to go ahead and pick baseball pun names at my expense to come up with their own top five
but
lists.
it's got to be center fielders.
Mm-hmm.
That's the tricky part.
You know what? This is where I missed it with Darvin Ham. I should have gone Billy Hamilton. I liked Ham in the title.
I know you like
close,
Ham.
we know you like Ham. We closed it with spam.
Yeah.
Yeah, spam. I got. Yeah, you closed it. Yeah, probably
different sport.
Yeah,
we get it.
Different position. The
It's
thing
the dangers of improv.
Yep.
They've got pitfalls, as we've learned today.
Yeah.
I want to put out to the audience.
Looking at me.
But no.
I would like the audience to help us come up with center fielder names better than Mike's, and I also want to make sure Cynthia's not here today, and she's handling the details. And Billy has fled the premises. He's not going to help me organize this. He doesn't want to be a part of this. He now wants to go full pro Bills because he wants to leave me alone on hating on Buffalo with a billboard that reads, Josh Allen has a stupid face, and we need other billboard ideas.
So I came up with some ideas yesterday after the show. We're talking with the guys in the back and realized that's not the only anti-Buffalo Bill statement that's been made on this show. So maybe we should have the other statements as well, like Whitty saying that they need a dome if they want to stay in the NFL. Maybe another one where
they shouldn't have a team if they're not going to have a dome.
Right.
We could paraphrase Whitty to insult them another way. The problem that we have is most of our show is secretly pro-Bills. But what I want to have happen is I want Bills Mafia, unreasonable, passionate Bills Mafia, to not actually be listening to the show, but only get the snippets that are clipped that are antagonizing so we can explain the joke to our audience while inciting real wrath. Because now I'm getting the threats. Like, you do this to Buffalo, bad things will happen. We've already escalated to that. We haven't even started. So that's the joke. The joke to me is that Billy doesn't actually care about any of this. Doesn't care. He's just putting on a Tua jersey, and then every once in a while says that Josh Allen sucks, and that's his analysis as an insider.
Well, he didn't say that. He said he's a stupid face.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
He also said he sucks.
I mean, listen. He told me that he has a chooch, that he has a cannon for an arm. So, but he does have a stupid face. I mean, there are quarterbacks throughout time that have a stupid face. Jim Plunkett comes to mind.
There's also the statement that if Tua had played, the Dolphins would have won comfortably. I think that one should go on the billboard.
I also like a billboard that says it was a giant moral victory blowout.
Yes.
That the Dolphins had a moral victory blowout.
No, you got to word it the other way. The Buffalo Bills had a huge blowout moral loss.
I mean,
That's how I'd word it.
What?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
I was there with friends,
you know
Dolphin
this.
fans,
But
and I will admit, it felt like a moral victory afterwards.
We said it was a
We
moral
were
victory
celebrating as if we had won just for keeping it close. But I don't like what we're doing to Bills. Like, the Bills Mafia were delightful. I had a great time. I took a shot out of a bowling ball with them. It was great.
I love that place.
Took you 3 days to get back.
It did.
I like the Bills. I don't want to be feuding with the Bills, but
Right.
you called Josh Allen a sucky quarterback and someone with a stupid face. They're going to get mad. It's playoff time. It's Buffalo. This is our identity. It's Bills Mafia versus Guillermo's Mafia. Bills Mafia versus Bills Mafia.
But Guillermo doesn't want to be the head of his mafia is the problem. He wants to actually do what you guys are doing,
He
which
wants
is
out.
the easiest thing. It's don't put my name on anything. I love Bills Mafia. I don't have an opinion on anything. I just want to love Bills Mafia.
The Mike Greenberg there.
We don't really consider consequences, and it all falls back on Dan.
And this is what's going to happen here too, because Billy's not going to be okay with his name being on these billboards, but I can't find him. So I can't ask him. And he's hoping it just disappears. I don't know if Cynthia has just disappeared because Billy is now trying to sabotage this. I don't think he wants his name on any billboard.
When he wants things to disappear, he disappears. I mean, that's how you do it.
But I told you, I was reminding them yesterday.
Put my name on it. I'm glad to take
but
it.
That's why we were going to put Billy's, because you were on the LeBron's posters. Like, you like the attention. You don't care. You know that nothing you say means anything.
Oh, we have to put Billy's name. It's Billy's
No,
name.
but Billy's not comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Billy's not comfortable being the author of and the voice of, and he's the one who said it, Josh Allen has a stupid face.
Ben Roethlisberger, stupid face. I mean,
What if you sign it from the
Bad
God
face.
Bless Football podcast? Because Stugotz agrees with the take. You said
No.
Josh Allen has a stupid face, and that would be you and Billy. But then, of course, Golick is implicated.
Yeah.
Mojo is implicated.
Jabba Chamberlain.
Jabba Chamberlain is implicated.
Mikey.
yeah.
Mikey
yeah.
is implicated.
K-Funk.
But I think it works. I don't know.
It,
Josh Allen has a stupid face from God Bless Football.
Antonio
the number one
Tarver.
football podcast.
Mike,
I hope someone's tuning into this show for the first time in 5 years and just heard the name Jabba Chamberlain.
what I'd like
You
to happen.
should let them know that you have a member of O.J. Simpson's defense team on God Bless Football
That's
regularly.
true, yeah.
Yeah. Carl Douglas.
That was one of the billboard ideas too.
Mexico.
Like, you guys still have
What?
OJ Simpson
Dream
in your
team.
Hall of Fame.
Yes, Carl Douglas is the name.
Carl Douglas is what Stugotz called him.
That's his nickname. His friends call him that.
It is staggering to me
Douglas.
that Chris Cody and Stugotz, in what is purported to be adulthood, haven't learned that they can't party like they used to.
You're so right.
You can't come in here and do your job correctly and be sharp if all weekend all you're doing is face planting in Mexico, listening to Grateful Dead through the one ear that's above the sand because you clouded your head with mushrooms.
Chris Cody's Instagram story this weekend was actually terrifying. I saw that bowling ball video. So you take a shot out of the hole
In
of
the
a bowling
thumb hole.
ball, and then you
Thumb hole is
drop it-
comedically, it's
you
just a fun
drop
thing.
it onto the mud, and then
Yes.
someone else comes and picks
Yeah.
it up.
Your hands get so dirty.
And
And
you just
nobody
keep-
washes it in between.
That's
It's
so
just
gross.
it is disgusting.
Like a white
And then
guy
the next
sounder.
day, you had no voice. You were wandering around the Cleveland airport.
Yeah.
There was a weird guy with a werewolf claw in your video.
Yeah.
It was really terrifying to watch. I was worried for him. And then on the flip side, Stugotz was gone. He doesn't use Instagram stories, but the Grateful Dead Instagram account was posting their set list all weekend, and I knew Stugotz was having a good weekend.
I was.
based off of those
I
posts.
received
Yeah.
videos of Stugotz having a good weekend.
And it was Molly.
Chris Cody, can you please
Whoa.
give me more information on your weekend in Buffalo? Because the problem at the end of this, Amin, is it's just going to be me out there. Me, who has not actually said anything bad about Buffalo, is going to have to put it's going to be my name and reputation getting Bills Mafia mad and hiring yet more security here. Because all of you are going to run away because at the moment of truth, you'd actually prefer to just be tailgating out of a bowling ball.
That's right.
So how was your experience in Buffalo? Wonderful, right?
It was great, honestly. It was a lot of fun. The tailgate was wild. The people are the best part was the people. I had obviously every fan base has a few bad apples, but 99.9% just decent people, friendly, very welcoming. Let's not get into Frontier. Can we just stay?
Well,
on
you
the-
brought it
Who
up.
saw that coming?
I mean, everybody saw it coming. I'm never flying Frontier again unless they have my only flight to get home out of Cleveland.
Right.
But you know how that works.
You made the announcement you were never flying Frontier again, and then you got to Cleveland because you had to drive to Cleveland.
Drive to
'cause
Cleveland.
Buffalo, what was it? Weather? Because they shouldn't have a football
They
team.
don't even tell you. They send an email. Hey, your flight's canceled. They might as well have just sent an email that said you're fucked. And then I was like, we were already at the airport and I had to leave the airport, drive 3 hours, and then wait. And then that flight got delayed. Didn't get home till like 2 a.m.
How did you pick Cleveland?
That was just because two of my friends had gotten there, so they were driving back for the rental. So that it just made sense that they were
God,
going to
what
be
a
driving.
Shitty shit show.
I would have tried Toronto. Isn't Toronto
No,
right there?
Well said.
It was much more expensive for Toronto.
I'm not leaving the state of New York. I'm moving there if that happens. That sounds like a pain in the ass. You can't make
No,
me go
you're
back
not.
to Cleveland.
The wings were good though.
Wait, Buffalo versus Cleveland. Has anyone been to? Okay,
Yeah, I've been to both.
Okay, give me some.
I was ready to crush Cleveland. The downtown where the
It's
arena
nice.
is,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
actually
stop
kind of
it.
nice.
The
Stop
downtown,
it.
the
No.
downtown, just like
Stop
Milan.
It's weird.
Yeah.
What?
Put it on the poll,
It's a
Chris
weird
Cody.
downtown.
There's a
Is downtown
chandelier.
Buffalo just like Milan? I'm going to put that.
No, it's downtown Cleveland.
Cleveland, Buffalo.
There's a chandelier hanging over an intersection. It's
Buffalo's
crazy.
downtown is nothing to look at. Cleveland's downtown is nicer than Buffalo's.
Yeah.
But the people in Buffalo,
Isn't
great.
Milan like the name of that
fashion
town from
capital of Italy.
Hoosiers?
Mike Gout.
You're back.
Juju, you were in Buffalo. You were a part of Bill's Mafia. You've been to Buffalo more than anybody on this show. You're going to side where in this beef that's going to leave me totally alone against Bill's Mafia?
Off with his head.
Yeah.
Attack Bill's Mafia. Dan Le Batard said it. Let's get him.
Oh, no.
So that's just me attacking
you.
Bill's Mafia.
Yes, sir. Just
So
you.
you think I should head
Thank you for your service.
face first into
one
the
sad
fight?
horse galloping.
One
Buffalo.
weary horse that's tired of me being on its back because
Crawling.
because I'm Mike Gout, who's a left fielder now, by the way, which is not as funny as me patrolling center field.
When did that happen?
Is this going to end up being something funny?
Andrew Scones.
Are we going to be able to execute a billboard? Cynthia's not here. Billy's not here.
Milky Cabrera.
Thai corn on the cob.
Because it's important that that's terrible. He's a third
pass out.
baseman.
Awful.
It's a vegetable.
No, no,
I
he
googled
plays
baseball
center
center
field.
fielders,
Healthy
man. What
for
do
you.
What do you want?
Corn on the cob is practically healthy. You tried to get in the game, and you don't have the excuse of Miami, or you don't have the excuse of Vegas, Mexico, and Buffalo, Cleveland. What is your excuse for your timing today?
Are you talking to me?
But no.
Mike, how am I going to actually execute this? I don't know where Whittingham is. He's the executive producer. You've left the position, and I'm tired of our ideas like parasailing into a sewer. I want to execute an idea and finish it. I want to purchase billboards. I just got done talking to Danny in the other room, and Danny's like, and we can do this Tuesday. And I'm like, no. It needs to be before they lose. It needs to be this weekend. We need to get billboards up now.
They're 5-point favorites this weekend. You have them losing?
I mean, they could lose, right?
I mean, ye of little faith in the Buffalo Bills. This is the team
They're
of
playing Joe
destiny.
Burrow. I mean,
Wally Berger.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. He's a center fielder, and his last name is Berger.
Sorry, I'm still holding Thai corn on the cob against you.
Uh-huh.
Rocco Aldelli.
Famous Amos Otis.
You're so bad.
There was a-
Cookies. What are you guys not getting? I'm saying foods.
Was a center fielder named Buttercup.
What?
Yeah, Buttercup Dickerson.
I literally could say McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, and you guys would be like, that guy played third base.
That's what Cody would do, and it'd be funny. He'd be like, William Burger King.
And we'd laugh.
Yes.
But you're supposed to be funny.
Yes, we're waiting for you to hit the notes as giftedly as Cody does.
What was wrong with Wally Burger? Let's just stop for a second. Pause
You're-
pause and
you're-
record.
well, one of the things that's wrong with the joke is you're mentioning a baseball player. The starting point is these guys are also trying to get 90s baseball players here because Rocco Aldelli is a player that all of us have heard of.
Yeah, and it's really difficult to get actual center fielders because you're limiting an already limited box to pull from. But Tony Gwynn Jr.,
Cito Gaston.
Tony Gwynn Jr. was an actual center fielder. His dad was bigger than you. Tony Gwynn Jr.
No. I had the joke
I saw what he
wrong,
was doing.
but Mike's
No, it's
got
a
it
real-
down.
no, you come back-
Sorry
You
for
come back the other way and you give a real name like Coco Crisp, like Tony Gwynn Jr. The joke is that
Wally Berger's a real fucking name. Wally Berger's a real fucking name. Look it up.
It was a Ty Cobb thing.
When was Wally Berger a center fielder? Give me the career, please,
Wally?
of Wally Berger here as we get distracted again and won't actually get billboards up because we get distracted by looking up where Wally Berger played center field.
So this is I saw like a mock-up on Twitter of a billboard, and I gathered that was something that you wanted to do. This is the first that I'm hearing that you're very serious. I'm going to leave the room and I'll ask some questions.
I'd like to ask some
Wally-
questions on air.
Wally Burger's a fast food restaurant in Arizona. I don't see any baseball players named Wally Burger.
No, I see one. He was born in 1905.
Thank you.
Not thank you. You're not understanding. You have to mention a player that we've heard of. Wally Berger could be
I thought this was a sports show. I didn't know that you guys. Oh, I've never heard of it. Hey, you know what, Dan Le Batard? You love baseball so much. Why don't you do your homework? Tim Kirkshin would have known it.
1905 is what you
He had a
referenced.
career. I mean, he did.
You know what Cody would have done? He would have called him Wally Frankfurter. Cody would have gone more ridiculous on the name. As it was, Wally Berger, we weren't even sure that was an actual player.
He was the NL home run leader in 1935.
Yeah.
Le Batard. Oops.
Professional hitter.
Yeah, he was.
300 career average.
Alejandro de Grasa.
Can you please, Chris Cody, reach out to Tim Kirkshin and just ask him to text you all the information that he knows off the top of his head about Wally Berger? Because yes, I mean, Al Hassan, you are correct. Tim Kirkshin knows more about baseball than I do. I did not know that the home run leader in 1935, in the time of Ruth, was Wally Berger.
There's a player named Turkey Stearns. Hall of Famer.
Healthy meat, though.
Healthier, right? Not as funny as Berger.
Dog meat.
I don't understand because electric billboards are not as good as actual old-fashioned billboards because I don't know if I do not want to fail at another thing around here.
Wait, now you want to make it an old-fashioned billboard?
No,
understand.
it has to be a standalone. He's right. Yeah.
No, but that takes longer.
Well, this is what happened though. When we did this with
He
LeBron,
wants it now.
I'm going to give you guys. This is what happened. It feels familiar. When we put up the LeBron billboards, you guys remember how that escalated? We were actually going to pay. We were calling around to find out what a newspaper ad costs. We weren't going to actually do it. They called back and they said $100,000. That's correct. A newspaper ad. We were shocked by that. But then what they also did, which is now what's happening in Buffalo, the newspaper refused to take our money. The newspaper would not do that to LeBron, would not make the joke for us. And so we went billboards. And now we're calling billboard companies. Mike, we were going to get this done by this weekend, but billboard companies are afraid to do it because of how popular Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are right now. They don't want to mess with their business by being the billboard company that's saying that Josh Allen has a stupid face.
Yeah, as they should. That's good on Buffalo. They shouldn't take our business. They shouldn't bow to this little game that you want to play and wage war against one of America's great sports cities. They love their Bills. Shame on you for this idea.
By the way, Wally Berger was third in MVP voting.
We got a
1933.
billboard right near the stadium, and they didn't want to do it because they don't want to upset the Bills, which I'm sure are a massive source of the local economy.
Yeah, you understand, right?
I understand. I still want to do it.
No doubt. I know you.
And we're going to end up probably getting stuck with electric billboards, which is okay by me. But what do we do then if the business closes around the Buffalo Bills and doesn't allow us to actually
Electric
make the joke?
billboards. It's a digital billboard, Dan. Electro.
I feel like you mean like electronic billboards.
You
It's like
plug it in.
You can't be surprised that he just wants to do the old-fashioned
You
billboard.
need an outlet.
You're spitting.
See you, Gary.